Hey everybody, I'm doing another video. Let's see how long it takes me to take another lengthy hiatus. What I wanted to do today, since we're still pretty early in the year, is talk about my most anticipated movies of 2019. This isn't a top 10 because I don't feel like limiting the number of movies I'm looking forward to a top 10 list because I'm looking forward to more than 10 movies this year. Why would I not tell you about some of them? So let's just jump right in and get a few of the obvious ones out of the way, starting with Avengers Endgame. I'm a pretty big fan of the MCU movies. I don't think they're perfect, but I really enjoy them for what they are, which is good popcorn entertainment that pretty much anybody can really enjoy. But thinking back on it a bit, Infinity War might just be my favorite movie in the MCU, and the main reason is Thanos, because not only is he the best villain the MCU has had, hands down, no one else even comes close, but in my expert opinion, I believe he's one of the best movie villains ever. He's right up there with Heath Ledger's Joker, for me at least. So yeah, I'm just really interested to see how they wrap up this little chapter of this gigantic story, because Infinity War left a lot of questions with its ending, as most of you probably know. And the second big one is Star Wars Episode 9. Now, I don't want to brag too much, but I'm pretty sure I called exactly how the fan base would react to The Last Jedi in my original review for that movie. Odds are you were probably going to watch this movie no matter what I said, but I highly doubt you'll be disappointed. Yeah, I was a little bit naive about just how obsessive some Star Wars fans are when it comes to what they think a Star Wars movie should be. My opinion of The Last Jedi has gone down a decent amount since I originally reviewed it, but I still think it's a good movie. And I at least respect Rian Johnson for taking a lot of risks and doing things that not everyone was gonna like. And it'll at least be interesting to see if this movie is at all affected from the backlash that The Last Jedi got. Alright, now we've got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Anyone who's ever talked film with me in person knows that my favorite director is Quentin Tarantino, so obviously he's coming out with a new movie. It has to be on my anticipated movies list. But beyond it just being Tarantino, to say that I'm gonna be intrigued by what he does with a story about the Manson murders is an understatement. Anyone who's ever seen a Tarantino movie knows that there has to be a good amount of carnage, and with this being a true story and some of the victims' family members still being alive, I'm really interested to see how he handles that. Not to mention all the huge names that are in the cast. Leo, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Al Pacino, Kurt Russell, Michael Madsen, and the list goes on. Next up, we've got Glass. I'm not going to mention much about this movie because it comes out this weekend, and I don't know exactly when I'll see it, but as soon as I do, I'll try to get a review up for it ASAP. I mean, it's M. Night. How bad could it possibly be? Alright, next up, Joker. One of my favorite actors, Joaquin Phoenix, playing one of my favorite characters, the Joker. You bet I'm going to be there opening night. And beyond that, it looks like it has so much potential because the setting is so different from anything else that's ever been adapted from a comic book. And also, Todd Phillips is the director. And for those of you who don't know, he directed the Hangover movies. That's an interesting choice. John Wick Chapter 3. I don't have much to say. I just want to see some really good action out of this one. And if there's a good story to back it up, give it even more props. The Lighthouse. Now, I don't really know much about this movie because I just found out about it. I don't know how much info there is to be known about it, but I do know it's the same director as The Witch, which I loved. It stars Willem Dafoe, who I also love, and Robert Pattinson, who really impressed me with his performance in Good Time. If you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. I'm just looking forward to that now. Now we have I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Now, this is going to be released on Netflix, and it's from possibly my favorite screenwriter, Charlie Kaufman. He's writing and directing it. I don't need to know anything other than that, because everything I've ever seen from Charlie Kaufman has been amazing. I haven't seen Anomalisa yet, but I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I plan on watching it at least before this movie gets released. Also, if you haven't seen any of these movies, I would recommend getting on that right now. Chaos Walking. This one also has Charlie Kaufman as a writing credit, not directing, but it's a sci-fi movie that stars Tom I Don't Feel So Good Holland and Daisy Ridley, and that's just really intriguing to me. I really want to see how this plays out. Next up is Us, Jordan Peele's follow-up to Get Out. This one looks like it could be so frickin' good, because it looks like from the trailer he's embracing the horror elements a little bit more, which was one of my few complaints with Get Out, is that it didn't feel that much like a genuinely great horror movie. It felt more like a suspenseful story with horror elements mixed in there a little bit. But regardless, I'm excited because I still did really like Get Out on the whole. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Under the Silver Lake. This was technically a 2018 movie, but it was literally impossible for me to see without going out of the state, which I'm not going to do. This is from director David Robert Mitchell, who directed It Follows, one of the best horror movies in years, and it also stars Andrew Garfield, who I've really begun to respect as a genuinely fantastic actor. I don't need much more than that. Just looks really interesting. Climax. And no, this isn't a porno. From what I've heard about this seems exactly like my kind of claustrophobic, nightmarish thriller, and I don't need to know anything other than that. I can't wait to see this movie. Terminator VI. I just found out that this is in development, and it's on this list not because I think it's going to be good, but because I just want to see how much more they can mess up the Terminator timeline. Because every movie in the Terminator series after Judgment Day, total garbage. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to either how bad it is, or if they do manage to make it good, I will applaud in the theater, because they will have done the impossible. Midsummer, or Midsummer, I'm not sure which way you're supposed to pronounce that, but this is from the director of Hereditary, one of my favorite movies from last year, despite how controversial it was with audiences. It also stars Will Poulter, who I think is one of the most underappreciated actors working right now. Count me in. The live-action Lion King remake. Now, this is another one that I'm looking forward to, not because I think it'll be good, but I just want to see how they will mess this one up. I mean, there's no way they're going to make something as good or better than the original, because that's one of the best movies ever made. Come on. And if they just pull a Beauty and the Beast and remake it in live action, I will tear it to shreds. I guarantee that. So yeah, my bet is that this is just going to be another nostalgia cash grab by Disney, because that's pretty much all they make nowadays. But I really just don't understand it. Like, you would think The Lion King would be the untouchable one in this remake fest they're going on. Apparently not. Brightburn. What I got from the trailer for this movie was basically, imagine if Superman was a serial killer as a kid. I'm just really interested to see what they do with that concept and how far they'll go with it. How to Train Your Dragon 3. I adore the first two How to Train Your Dragons. They were way better than I was expecting, and this is pretty much the equivalent to a kid's Lord of the Rings at this point, so hopefully this is the return of the king for this franchise. And last but not least, we've got Velvet Buzzsaw. This is going to be on Netflix in February, I believe. This is the same director as Nightcrawler, and he's teaming up with Jake Gyllenhaal again. If you haven't seen Nightcrawler, I'm pretty sure it's still on Netflix. That performance from Jake Gyllenhaal is legitimately one of the best I've ever seen, and it's the performance that made him one of my favorite actors, if not my favorite actor. So yeah, the same two people who made that happen, you can just take my money right now. I don't care that it's on Netflix, I'll give you more money. So there you go, my most anticipated movies of the upcoming year. Now, I wanted to touch on a different subject, and that's why I'm not making a top 10 list for the last year, and why I don't plan on doing that for any year in the future. It seems like every year I see less and less of the movies that I'm genuinely looking forward to just because of my location, because it's just a fact we don't get limited release screenings up here in northern Michigan. And even if we do, it's an hour drive to the theater for me, probably. The pains of being a small town film buff. Plus, I want to start watching more foreign movies, and those distributions are just totally unpredictable. So basically, because of that, if I were to make a top 10 list in January, I would pretty much be disqualifying a lot of great films just because of their distribution. As of right now, if you really want to see a list of my favorite movies of the year, follow me on Letterboxd, username right here, and give me a follow and look at my 2018 recommendations list. You'll be able to see them there. So with that out of the way, thank you everyone for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already to see more content like this. Tell me what movies you're looking forward to in 2019. I genuinely want to know. Thank you. Have a great day.